Namaste for TV9 News. This is Priyanka Deo. What is Hamas? When did it start? Who funds it? Here's what you need to know about Palestine's largest militant Islamist organization. Number one, the roots of Hamas. Hamas is an Arabic acronym for the Islamic Resistance Movement. It originated in 1987 after the first Palestinian uprising against Israel's occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. When it first began, Hamas carried out social welfare programs, but also carried out armed clashes against Israel. Now, according to Hamas's charter, one of its aims is the destruction of Israel. Number two, Hamas and politics. In 2005, Israel withdrew troops and settlers from Gaza. It was at this time that Hamas began engaging in Palestinian politics. In 2006, Hamas won legislative elections. Now, since then, militants have engaged in 3 wars against Israel. At present, Israel, the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, as well as several other nations officially identify Hamas as a terrorist group or organization. Number 3, the Hamas Charter. Created in 1988, Hamas's covenant repeatedly targets the Jewish community. The preamble of the 1988 covenant states, and I quote, "Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it has obliterated others before it." Article 7 of the 1988 covenant states, and I quote, "The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Then the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will cry out, 'O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him.'" In 2017, Hamas produced a more measured charter in terms of language. However, the goal of the destruction of Israel remains the same. Instead of overtly saying Jews, the 2017 document highlights that Hamas's struggle is not with Jews, but with Zionist aggressors and against the Zionist project. Number 4, suicide bombings. Hamas has carried out multiple suicide attacks which have resulted in destruction and casualties. The first suicide attack was in 1989 and was a bus bombing. In 1996, the group was responsible for multiple suicide bus bombings, which killed approximately 60 Israelis. Palestinians actually lauded Hamas's suicide attacks. They saw these attacks as martyrdom and a response to Israeli settlements in the West Bank. 5. Who funds Hamas? Qatar financially funds and supports Hamas. So far, Qatar has given $1.8 billion to Hamas. Several Muslim nations, including Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and the Maldives, severed diplomatic ties with Qatar and even imposed a trade blockade in 2017. Number 6, sanctions. Now, the new Hamas-led government has been subject to diplomatic and economic sanctions. These sanctions have been imposed by Israel as well as other Western powers. Israel blames Hamas for all attacks on the Gaza Strip. Now, Israel has also carried out large-scale military campaigns in Gaza after cross-border fighting. Even though Hamas's military was impacted by both conflicts, it still receives support by Palestinians for confronting Israel. For TV9 News, this is Priyanka Deo signing off. Namaste.